Hi students, our new topic for today is all about the law of exponents. But, first of all we will define the meaning of exponents. Exponent is a numeral written above and to the right of a number to show how many times the number is to be used as a factor. And now, students, we will topic the 7 rules, including the law of exponents. We have the first to the 7 rules. First rule is what we called product of power. Product of power states that when you are multiplying 2 terms of the same base, just add their exponents to find your answer. Next is the second rule, is what we called quotient of power. Quotient of power is a property says that dividing 2 powers with the same base is the same as subtracting the exponent of denominator from exponent of numerator and raising of that power. And that is the second rules of exponent. And now we are going to proceed to the next rules, which is the third rules. The third rule is about the power of power. Power of power, it means you are taking an expression that is already raised to an exponent and raising it to yet another exponent. And that is the third rule. Next is the fourth rule, is what we called power of product. Power of a product rules states that a term raised to a power is equal to the product of its factors raised to the same power. Next is the fifth rule. This rule is what we called power of a quotient. The meaning of the fifth rule is equal to the quotient obtained when the numerator and denominator are each raised to be indicated power separately before the division is performed. And that is the meaning of fifth rule, a power of a quotient. And now, we will proceed to the next rule. This is the sixth rule, it is about a zero power. The zero power is that any number raised to the power of 0 equals to 1. So if 2 or 1 million is raised to the power of 0, it equals to 1. And the last, but not the least of meaning, is about the 7 rules. The last rules is negative exponent rules. Negative exponent rules. This rules says that negative exponent in the numerator get moved to the denominator and become positive exponents. Negative exponents in the denominator get moved to numerator and becomes positive exponents. Only move the negative exponents. And now, we are going to the next, and we will separate on how to solve of every rules. So, what is the further ado? Let's go and take a look. We have first to the last rules, including the law of exponents. 1. Product of power. 2. Quotient of powers. 3. Power of powers. 4. Power of product. 5. Power of quotient. 6. Zero power. And the number 7 is negative exponent. And that is the 7 rules, which is we are going to know on how to solve. Remember, when the number being raised by a power is known as the base, while the superscript number above it is the exponent or power. Another remember is the equation above is set as 4 to the power of 3. The power of 2 can also be set as cube. These terms are often used when finding the area or volume of various shapes. Writing a number in exponential form refers to simplifying into a base with a power. For example, forming 5 times 5 times 5 into exponential forms looks like 5 cubed. So, let's go to solve the first rule, the product of power rules. For example, 4 squared times 4 to the raised of 5th power. Since the base values are both 4, keep the same, and then add the exponents 2 plus 5 together. Then multiply 4 by itself 7 times to get the answer. Let's expand the above equation to see how this works. Next is the quotient of powers rules. Example, 5 is raised to the 5th power divided by 5 cubed. So, what is the answer? It equals to 5 squared. Both bases in this equation are 5, which means they stay the same. Then, take the exponents and subtract like divisors from dividend. Finally, simplify, if needed. 5 squared equals 5 times 5 equals 25. Once again, expanding the equation shows us that this shortcut gives their correct answer. Next is a power of power. For example, x cubed times raised to 3. So, what is the answer? The answer is x raised to 9. Once again, we need to expand the equation. Next is the fourth rule. It is a power of product. For example, x, y times raised to the 3. In this equation, the power of 3 needs to be distributed to both the x and the y variables. So the answer is x cubed, then y cubed. This rule applies if there are exponents attached to the base as well. Let's expand the equation with like this. Next is the fifth rule. It is power of a quotient. Example, x over y times raised to the 4th power. So what is the answer? Here, raised both variables within the bracket by the power of 4. Take a look at this more complicated equation. 4x cubed over 5x to the 4th power times raised to 2. So, the answer is. Don't forget to distribute the exponent you're multiplying by to both the coefficient and the variable. Then simplify where possible. Next is the sixth rule. It is a zero power. Since the meaning of 0 is based to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So let's do the simple example. The example is x raised to 0. So, the answer is 1. So, why? 1 is the answer. Because a value of x is 1. Sometimes, some student forget the value of x. Next is the last rule, the negative exponents. This is the example. When there is a number is being raised by a negative exponent, flip it into a negative exponent to turn base into a negative. That's all for today's student. The law of exponents. Okay students, thank you for your listening and cooperation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sir Jomar Madaling, Seed 1, Block 2, student. For ends of this video, I will introduce to all my group members. The group 2